Hey everyone, I just found out that Indian has released a new bike. Well, sort of. They've released a new version of an existing bike. But before we get into the details, I thought I'd give you a quick update on a recent video I put out. A couple weeks ago, I got new bars on my bike. That video is here. One thing I said in that video is that I found the bike difficult to control at slow speeds with the new bars. I decided to try something, and so far it looks like it might have resolved the issue. My short arms were reaching fairly far forward on the bike, so I pushed the backrest farther forward to still give me some back support even though I was leaning forward a little bit. With these new bars being closer to me, I decided to try adjusting my backrest back a little bit, and so far it seems to have done the trick. I've only been out for about 45 minutes with the adjusted backrest, but it's definitely more comfortable and easier to handle. The other change is that I now have mirrors on my handlebars, so that makes riding a lot easier as far as changing lanes, seeing what's going on behind me, stuff like that. And on yet another note, I picked up a luggage rack for the bike. Found a good deal on a decent used one. Buying these new from Harley is crazy expensive, so Facebook Marketplace to the rescue. I found a good one for less than $100. Have that on here so now I can mount my flags. And I've decided to change my passenger, who changes every now and then, to face backwards. And the reason for that is because I need the space behind my backrest to put a extra bag for my trip coming up in May. So my buddy here is now going to be facing backwards and waving to all of the people behind me. Anyway, back to the new bike from Indian. But we need to give some backstory for this. So we're going to dive into a particular aspect of motor racing. I did some research on this because motor racing is not something I've really studied or followed yet. I didn't know much about it. So if I say anything that's not totally correct, I'm sure someone will be thrilled to let me know in the comments, because if there's one thing I've learned from the past 18 months of making videos, there are some folks out there who love to tell you and let you know when you make a mistake. For instance, let's not discuss this video here, which has my most popular mistake ever. What were we talking about? Oh yeah, motor racing. Let's talk flat track racing. Flat track racing is basically dirt track racing but on a flat track, as opposed to motocross style dirt track racing, which has tons of dips and rises, little hills, jumps, all kinds of stuff like that. From what I understand, flat track racing started at places like county fairs, things like that, just little tracks that people would get out and take a dirt bike out and race around. As we all know, dirt track racing bikes are not street legal. So, just for fun, in between races or during intermissions in these flat track races, the racers would bring their street bikes onto the track and race them on the dirt track. This practice of racing street bikes on the dirt tracks during intermission became known as hooligan racing. Speaking of intermission, we're going to take a quick commercial break. Stay tuned for the rest of the story after this lovely message provided to you by YouTube. Alright, we're back. Thanks for being here. Hooligan racing evolved over time and has since become its own racing event on regular paved tracks. They still have hooligan racing on dirt tracks, but there's a new updated version of hooligan racing that has become known as the Super Hooligan Race. These are now done on professional paved tracks, same tracks that are used for other races. There are now multiple Super Hooligan races throughout the year across the country that are part of the Super Hooligan National Championship, or SHNC for short. The bikes used in the SHNC, Super Hooligan National Championship, are all street legal bikes, but they've been heavily modified. Think of like the King of the Bagger races, but the Super Hooligan race is geared towards lighter bikes. They have some rules and regulations on engine sizes and weights and all kinds of different things. But the bikes, some of the examples of bikes that are in the Super Hooligan are like the Harley Sportster, the Harley Pan America, KTM, BMW, Ducati, Buell, Triumph, Suzuki, Aprilia, Yamaha, Indian, And now even electric bikes like Energica are now allowed in the Super Hooligan. The Super Hooligan National Championship, or SHNC, is run by a company called Roland Sands Design, which is a company that sells high-end performance gear for bikes, clothing, stuff like that. There are 10 SHNC races throughout the year. They do them in groups of 2, so they go to one track, they do 2 different races. They go to another track somewhere else in the country, they do 2 more races, so on and so forth, till they've got 10 races done throughout the year. The first 2 SHNC races for 2024 have already taken place about 2 weeks ago in Daytona, and the top 5 spots in both races were all taken by Harley Pan America and Indian FTR. I didn't expect to see either one of those bikes in top 5 spots on a professional racing track. I find that really interesting, especially when you're going up against some of these other bikes, Triumph, Suzuki, bikes like that. I didn't expect Harley Pan America and Indian FTR to be the top contenders on a regular basis. So anyway, here's where we finally get to the new bike from Indian. As a celebration of their winnings in the SHNC last year, Indian has released another collaboration bike in their FTR lineup. All of the Indians, I believe, that are in the SHNC are all Indian FTRs. We already have the 100% collaboration FTR, where they built an FTR to go with the company 100%. You can find out about that in my lineup video here. Now we have the RSD Super Hooligan collaboration model, RSD of course, standing for Roland Sands Design, which runs the SHNC races. So the FTR RSD Super Hooligan is priced at $18,500, which is $500 less than the 100% collaboration model. It comes in a very limited quantity of 300 total being sold of this bike. I think I saw somewhere in a comment that they're selling 150 in North America and 150 overseas. I don't know that for absolute certain, but I'm pretty sure I saw that somewhere. The FTR RSD Super Hooligan has the typical 120 horsepower and 87 foot-pounds of torque. That is the same on all FTR models. This one weighs 522 pounds, has a 31.7-inch seat height, upgraded exhaust and suspension, of course, for racing, and has lots of RSD Super Hooligan graphics on it. So there you go, folks. I realize that was a bit of a long video just to announce one bike, but hey, it was a fun way to learn about hooligan racing and how it evolved to Super Hooligan racing and some of those kinds of interesting things. Thanks for watching, everyone. Take care. See you on the next one. God bless.